Welcome to the real life hero section of Manameni Nalame. Today I have an extremely special person who's very close to my heart, my best friend Maria. It is a great honor for me to introduce her to you and to have this interview with her. She's an amazing human being, a very successful career woman, a great friend, daughter, partner, and community member. Join me in conversation with Maria Christine Nirmala. மனமேனி நலமே நேர்களுக்கு வணக்கம். இன்னைக்கு நம்ம ரியல் லைஃப் ஹீரோ செக்ஷனில் ரொம்ப அருமையான ஒரு பெண்மணியே கூட இருக்காங்கங்க. என் வாழ்க்கையில் இன்னைக்கு நான் இவ்வளோ தூரம் வந்ததுக்கு ஒரு முக்கிய காரணம் அவங்கன்னு சொன்னால் மிகையாகாது. அவங்க ஒரு ரொம்ப அருமையான தோழி, ஒரு அருமையான மக, ரொம்ப அன்பான மனைவி, ஒரு நல்ல சமுதாயத்தில் அவங்க பொறுப்பை ரொம்ப அழகாக எடுத்து நடத்திட்டு வர ஒரு பெண்மணி. வாங்க இன்னைக்கு அவங்க கூட பேசலாம். அவங்க வாழ்க்கை பயணத்தை பற்றி, அவங்க எப்படி இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு வாழ்க்கை வாழ்கிறாங்க, எப்படி அவங்க மனநலத்தை இவ்வளோ சீராக வச்சுருக்காங்கங்கிறத பற்றி அவங்க கிட்ட பேசலாம். Maria, again, when we think about your career, you tell me, like, I don't think it would be an exaggeration to say that if we compare the average Indian woman, you have had a successful career. I know you've worked really hard for it. As I'm sure by now our viewers know why, because you're so amazing, smart, an interesting, lively, beautiful human being, extremely resilient. So what would you say, like, what the reasons for your success? Like, if I would ask you, right, like you mentioned your upbringing, the opportunity to be in different educational institutions, what else? Like, is it your relationship with yourself, relationship with the people around you, religion, community? Anything else that you would add?
Thank you. And yes, I guess in the eyes of society and for a lot of people, I am a successful person. And yes, I do believe I am a successful person. But a lot of people think success is just about your career, what you earn, the position that you have, your material assets and things like that. I'm not going to take it away. Yes, some of that is important. However, for me, true success is really about just being happy. So if you compare my parents, my father is a successful person, and his success is more because he's been out there, he's worked in the corporate, then he was an entrepreneur, he started something for himself. And my mother has been a housewife, so although she did a stint in between as a school teacher, but people would probably not look at her as a successful woman. But for me, I think my mother is an extremely successful woman because she was able to balance so many things. She had her priorities. And for me, success is just about enjoying what you do, being committed to what you do, and feeling that happiness. So a lot of people they have direct and indirect ways of looking success. So if you look at me, my career and all of that seem to be an indicator of being a successful woman. But for me, my mother is just as successful or even more than my father because she still continues to do what she was doing 30, 40 years back, right? And that makes her very different. Similarly, if you just look at any woman outside you, the women who do construction labor, slog it out 8 hours a day, get paid lesser than the men, at the same time, bringing up their children on the roadside, cooking for them, and sometimes they are married to alcoholic husbands, so trying to make ends meet with the money that they get. I think they're extremely successful women as well. So I think the notion of success needs to be understood. It's about enjoying what you're doing and being committed to what you're doing and making a success out of it, no matter what. So your second question was also, what are some of the aspects that have kind of helped me in being what I am? Definitely my parents, as you can see, my friends, I do feel friends have a big role to play. Because of course, parents love you and, they unconditionally, because they kind of brought you into the world, right? So you're their product. So good or bad, they will love you. But I think just having friends, and it could just be one friend or one plus many others as well, with whom you can just be yourself, and a friend who can understand you, accept you, and still love you and show you the mirror at times without being bothered on, hey, was my friendship going to get impacted? Just
Exactly.
friend like that also, really helps, especially during your down times, because you need someone whom you can just be yourself with. So that definitely is an aspect. And of course, my husband and a life partner who can support you. So relationships are my biggest strength. So I grew up as an extrovert. I think initially I needed that connection with a lot of people, but now I'm more of an introvert. I spend a lot of time with myself. So I am quite a religious and a spiritual person. And that's a big part of my support system.
Mhm.
Ideally they come first, but I just put the people first because that presence or that divine strength is something that's always been there with me. And that definitely is critical to my support.
Absolutely. Thank you, Maria. And I really like how you talked about this concept of success, right? It's not a capitalistic definition which is defined by all these things, but it's more about that inner self and the happiness. And I totally agree when you talk about your mother, my aunt, who is I also see as an extremely successful human being, mother, aunt, friend, I'm sure. Right, for sure. Yeah, and the importance of relationships that you emphasize in one's life, right? We don't need to have 1,000 people in our lives, but if we have a few people who can tolerate, understand, and always have our back, that goes a long way, right? And the fact that we always continue to grow and we're evolving, and the only constant thing is change. Like you said, you talked about how you're an extrovert and now how you see yourself as an introvert, and so the journey continues. Very beautiful. Thank you, Maria. My next question, Maria, is when we talk about your the different roles that you play. So I think you are an amazing wife. Like you literally dote on your husband. He's very, as much as you're lucky to have him, I think he's equally lucky to have you. You're an amazing daughter who's so committed to the role of being a daughter. And I'm sure your parents would also agree to that. You're an amazing friend. You change our lives. You're always there for us. You've been an extreme support in our good and bad times. I'm sure all our friends would agree to that. Right. And I'm sure an amazing colleague, boss, a daughter in law as well. So, all these different roles, how, and being the single daughter, like I am often amazed, like, because you were the single child, right? And then once you got married, you switch into all these different roles, but still continue to have a career and balance it. I'm not saying, I'm definitely not trying to say it was a cakewalk, but you've learned so much, you manage so much, and you still are so lively. Tell us the secret, like what keeps you going?
Like I said, Anne, I think I'm pretty spiritual and religious as well. So I
Hmm.
derive a lot of strength, from my daily prayers and activities. I need a lot of time. So honestly, when you tell me how do you manage all of this, I think if anybody else had the same kind of support that I've had, probably they would have done a lot more as well. So, uh, however, I think that, like I said, there are times when you realize, and nobody else outside sees that side of you, when you can go through those real ups and downs, and you're feeling bitter and angry and taken for granted and taken advantage of. It happens to me like anyone else a lot of times. And I think that's when I have those conversations with, my God, my maker, creator, whoever you'd like to call it. A lot of time in myself, because with myself, and then try and derive strength. So I'm a firm advocate of the need for whatever religion you belong to,
Hmm.
need to rely on a higher power. I have never been able to understand people who are atheists. I mean, I think that's amazing because I
You
don't
do that. Yeah.
ever do that. But I derive a lot of strength, a lot of, direction, and it's a lot of work with myself, with my maker. And when you even read about great people like Mother Teresa or many other saints, you see that they do spend a lot of time in personal prayer. Uh, Essentially because I feel you need the strength of the divine in every moment of life. So I never take anything for granted in life. For me, boring days are lovely. I love boring days. And I try and enjoy every moment because today you don't get hot water. And Canada, I don't know if you didn't have the power or you didn't have hot water or to not have electricity in the house, then you really miss it. So every time, everything that I do in a day, I always think of the time when I didn't have it. And you cannot take anything in life for granted. So can we enjoy every small thing that we do? So think days that you put off as boring days, I feel are really nice days. Boring can be very beautiful because it just gives you those moments to enjoy those normal moments that we tend to take for granted and we realize only when it's not there. So I think that's the secret that, I do enjoy every moment of my life, the good and bad probably I don't enjoy so much, but then I reflect later and see what it could have taught me. So it helps me later as well.
Wow, that is so beautiful, Maria. Like, and when as I'm listening to you, I'm thinking about your mental health, right? And the different things that you've mentioned, and add on if I missed something. One is definitely right, spirituality, your relationship with your parents, your husband, gratitude. You talked about gratitude, mindfulness, living, as you said, right? We always go, that, as you said, we take those calm, beautiful moments for granted, right? And we don't enjoy each moment of our life. If only all of us could do that, our mental health would be so much, because that's where anxiety and depression starts coming in, right? The fear of the future, stuckness with the past. And I think what you're also speaking of is that relationship with yourself and that relationship with God, because it helps you surrender and you are not trying on an everyday basis to control everything. Right?
Yeah.
Do your best and surrender. Is there anything
that was so beautifully summarized?
Perfect. Maria, thank you so much. One last question, and I will let you go. So if there's one thing that you would say to the young generation today, to our youth, right, and to men and women, what would you say?
Well, a lot of people have these perspectives about the younger generation and, so, hooked onto their devices and their digital natives. But I have seen quite a lot of youngsters who can be, very, very much like us.
Okay.
Generation is a number. I kind of feel, at least when I see a lot of my colleagues or a lot of youngsters, because I've seen you also as a mother, and I've seen how balanced you are. But a lot of working women often have that guilt of not being able to spend time with their children, and that protection, and not allowing your child to fall, to learn from mistakes, to trying to give them everything that they want. I feel that's something that, it's not really an advice to the younger generation, but to the younger parents, saying that give your children the vitamin N. No is also something that's very important that to learn. And to the youngsters, what I would say is that, try and get away from your devices. I wish they could be more like us, see what it actually means to play like in the dirt, play on the roads, navigate the traffic on the roads, be a lot more independent. I just wish, they would get a lot more exposure to the normal way of living. It just pains me and worries me a lot when I see a lot of people in very special schools, and I don't want to, get trolled for this, but sometimes I feel they're so protected and they get the best of the education. What we are learning now, they learn when they are still in school. Yeah. While that's great, it does help them develop intellectually. Sometimes are they missing out? Are they missing out, in just being in touch with children from diverse segments, being with a lot more number of people. So I just, people would spend a lot more time interacting more with other people. So play more, pick a sport, play a sport, learn at least one instrument or music or something. So now you have the bandwidth, because I think in our time we never had something like where courses, learning material was available, and we used to go to the libraries and
Library.
notes
Yeah,
for
I
each
think
other with a carbon copy. I doubt even people know what a carbon sheet
copy.
is,
True.
because it was so expensive to get things
Print
printed
out.
and stuff. So now there's just so much out there for people to learn. So learn, just explore your minds. Don't just keep playing games. Uh,
Mhm.
Learn to fall, learn to fail, learn to succeed, enjoy the success, but help each other. So that really would be my advice.
Beautiful. Thank you, Maria. Thank you so much. And I really like the vitamin N. Learn your children to accept and know, and how you spoke to women, right? To not feel guilty, because we're all trying to do our best. And for the youth to go out there and experience life, as you say, it is really important in all ways, right? For the overall development and to be better human beings and community members. Maya, thank you so much. This is really personal to me. I feel so proud to interview you today, and this is really personal. I'm so grateful, and I wish you more success and happiness, and uh, and I wish that this journey with yourself continues to be one that is so fulfilling for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anne. A pleasure to be interviewed by you. I mean, you are one whom I admire so much. And for me, one of the most successful women I've known. So, all the best to you too. And thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you, Maria.